Invocation by Brad Lomneck. We have the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Wilson, and then we'll have a roll call. Please stand.
Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, Lord God. Thank you. Please bless our commission as they make approvals tonight for the city, Lord. Bless the citizens in our city. Bless our first responders, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brunson,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson,
Here?
Mayor Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Furstner,
Here.
Commissioner Oliver.
Here. All right, we have a couple proclamations this evening. I'll read the first one. The first one's the Hispanic Heritage Month, September the 15th through October the 15th. Whereas each year Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month by celebrating the history, culture, and the traditions of people whose ancestry can be traced to Spain, Mexico, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean islands. And whereas this observance celebrates the achievements of Hispanic Americans in the arts, education, entertainment, government, history, law, literature, medicine, the military, music, politics, science, and other endeavors. And whereas the United States first observed what was then National Hispanic Heritage Week in 1968 under President Lyndon Johnson, calling upon public officials, educators, librarians, and all of the people of the United States to observe this time with ceremonies, activities, and programs. And whereas Hispanic make up 22% of the city of Ocoee's population, have enriched and shaped our community for generations. And whereas Hispanics continue to make significant and diverse contributions to the culture, educational, economic, and political vitality of the city of Ocoee. Now therefore be it resolved, the Ocoee City Commission does hereby proclaim September the 15th through October the 15th, 2022 as the Hispanic Heritage Month, and encourage all residents to honor the rich diversity of the Hispanic community and celebrate the many ways they contribute to our nation and society. In witness hereof, I hereunto have set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Ocoee, Florida, to be affixed this 20th day of September 2022. Rusty Johnson, Mayor. We're going to have this posted on our city bulletin. Okay, Commissioner Wilson will now take the next one.
I'm going to read the proclamation regarding diaper need. Diaper need, the conditions of not having a sufficient supply of clean diapers to ensure the infant and toddlers are clean, healthy, and dry, can adversely affect the health and welfare of infants, toddlers, and their families. And whereas national survey and research studies report that 1 in 3 mothers experience diaper need at some time while their children are less than 3 years of age, and 48% of families delaying changing a diaper to extend their supply. And whereas infants and toddlers go through 6 to 12 diapers each day during the 2 and 3 years they wear diapers. And whereas purchasing enough diapers to keep a baby and toddler clean, dry, and healthy can consume 14% of a low-wage family's post-tax income, making it difficult to provide the necessary supply. And whereas a daily or weekly supply of diapers is generally an eligible requirement for babies and toddlers to participate in child care programs and quality early education programs that enable children to thrive and parents to work. And whereas many parents struggle with diaper need, report missing an average of 4 days of work each month due to an insufficient supply of diapers. And whereas parents missing work due to diaper need hinder their ability to provide for their families financially, create workforce problems for small businesses, and hurts the local economy. Whereas without enough diapers, babies and toddlers risk infection and health problems that may require medical attention, resulting in medical costs, and parents may be prevented from accessing child care needs to go to work or school, thereby destabilizing the family's economic prospects and well-being. And whereas the people of the city of Ocoee recognize that diaper need and is a public health issue, and addressing diaper need can lead to economic opportunity for the state's family and communities and improve health for children, thus ensuring all children and families have access to the basic necessities required to thrive and reach their full potential. And whereas the city of Ocoee is proud to be home to trusted community-based organizations, including Central Florida Diaper Bank, that recognizes the importance of diapers in ensuring health and providing economic stability for families, and thus distribute diapers to families through various channels. And therefore, it is my great pleasure and privilege as, not the mayor, but as the mayor of the city of Ocoee, do hereby proclaim the week of September 24th through October 2nd, 2022, as Diaper Need Awareness Week in the city of Ocoee, and encourage its citizens to donate generously in the month of September to diaper banks, diaper drives, and those organizations that distribute diapers to families in need to help alleviate diaper need in Ocoee. Our mayor has set his hand and seal on this proclamation on the 20th day of September, 2022, and our mayor is Rusty Johnson. Sure, Sharon Lyles is here from the Central Florida Diaper Bank. Would you mind coming up and I'll present the proclamation to you? And we'll get a picture, we hope. Someone will appear out of door soon.
They're back, he's back.
He's back there, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see him, okay. Gotta get a seal. I'm sorry, we're new here. We hope people donate every month at the Diaper Bank. Thank you so much.
All right, staff reports and agenda review.
I have nothing for staff reports, Mayor.
All right. All right, we're at the public comments, ones that have no business on the, that we're doing tonight. So I have one, we have one here. Benjamin, is that Halcare? Hargrave? All right. I will tell you that it's 3 minutes. You'll have the timer going up on the screen up there, okay? All right, thanks, sir.
Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Benjamin Hargrave, representing the Ocoee Youth Council. This past week, you voted upon budget changes, and included in those was a subtraction from the OIC budget, taking away the funding for the annual Tallahassee trip. We, as a council, disagree with this change. We feel this trip is beneficiary to us, allowing us firsthand access to our state legislator and understanding of how the state and the local legislators differentiate themselves. The primary purpose of this council is for Ocoee residents to learn more about government, and in order to do that, I believe that we should have the opportunity to see more of our local government. If you still believe that the cost is too expensive, we hope that you would at least consider matching donations for the 9 of us. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the Ocoee Council, and we hope you consider our view. Again, I'm Benjamin Hargrave, representing the Ocoee Council, and thank you.
Thank you. All right. No more public comments, so nobody's turned anything in. Anybody in the public have anything that's not on the agenda? They want to say anything? All right. All right, we'll go down to consent agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to pull 2 items.
Pull who?
I'd like to pull item number 6 and
Number
item
s-
number 7 for discussion.
Item 6,
6 and 7.
7.
I'd like to
Anybody?
pull 3 and 11 as well.
3,
And 11?
hold on.
I know, I'm just trying to.
And 11. All right, do I have a motion to accept 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. Hold on, I think that's it.
No.
12, and 12 through 15. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
You make the motion.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Firstman. Who seconded?
I did.
Commissioner Oliver seconded. All right. Now we have to discuss vote. All right. That carries unanimously. Now we'll go to item, we start off with 3.
Item number 3 is approval for a new appointment to the Citizens Advisory Board for the Ocoee Police Department. I actually looked at this application that was submitted back in May of this year. And one of the things I was looking for either on the application or at least in some form of documentation was based on, I guess I may be a little confused as far as how if we've changed the procedure here, because the last meeting, we had the approval for the HRDB meeting. That was actually up for a public discussion, and the discussion led to us talking about having balance between districts. And I was looking for some type of documentation that would identify that, so when actually a person would fill out an application for any board, there should be some type of documentation to state that it is approval upon balancing the districts. And I didn't see any of that. Is that something that's going to be forthcoming? Are we considering, since we did make that change, are we actually going to be looking at doing that as we move forward with these applications for the different advisory boards?
May I ask the question at this point?
Yes, ma'am.
This is an application for a person who's applying. This is not, to me, there's nothing on the agenda regarding us making a change in a ordinance or whatever, specifying that you are going to make, that we're going to have attempt to have a balanced board. This person right here, I believe, lives in District 4. And right now, there are 4 members from District 1, 1 from District 2, 1 from District 3, and 1 from District 4, which would improve the odds, if you're referring to that, in District 4 as having 2 members, which would change the, as you say, the balance. This one, I don't think has any effect on it does have an effect on the balance, more in the positive state of District 4. But I don't think we're voting on this applicant, not on the issue of making an ordinance balancing boards. That's not the issue here.
I'm sorry, you said you had a question.
That's my question. I mean, this is my comment.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to make a comment that this item is putting someone on a board where it is a low number in that district, which would help to balance it out, but we're not going forward with an ordinance right now regarding changing that balancing. That's, to me, a separate issue.
Well, first, you mentioned that this was not something on the agenda. Well, it is, because the actual application is on the agenda. So we're
Yes, it
actually
is.
talking about something that is on this agenda. Actually, I'm only not speaking about the balance as far as what it is right now. I'm only talking about the procedures that we changed at the last meeting, where we felt that it would be good to have a balance of representation per district. Now, that's okay, whether it's balanced here or not. The whole point is that we need to be able to have some type of continuity of how we're going to do things. We can't do it one way, one meeting, and then change and do it another way, another meeting, without having some type of documentation or some type of procedure that need to be added in here to say, when a person applies, that they understand that if they apply for a board on January 1st, and then sometime in July, August, someone else puts in an application, if there's no balance, that person could be actually not placed on that board because there is no balance. So we need to actually be able to have some type of continuity of how we're going to allow people to sit on these boards, at least have an understanding when they actually apply to these boards that could happen. So there is nothing to say that would support the way we did it last time here. This is on a consent agenda item, but again, It's not, it does not represent what we did the last meeting. This is something totally
Right.
different.
All right. One quick comment to that, when we did that, we didn't make that a motion, that we made the motion to do that night, but we just brought it up that we want to go look at changing it to where all of them is the districts. We didn't say we were doing it that night, because we didn't make an ordinance. Because it has to be changed at one of our meetings where we do that. So when somebody brings it up to change it, then we can change it. But that's not what we did that last meeting. That was just saying, I said that it needs to be where it's represented by all the districts, not just loaded up with one district or something. That's what I said. So when we're ready to make a motion here, at one of our meetings to change it back to where all of them will be under the same way, then that's what we can do. Some of them are that way. I don't know exactly, Melody could probably get us a list of the ones that are that way, but there is, that's what we did the other time. I just brought it up last time because we put too many people out of one area on a board, and it's not a way to do it. So that, maybe if we do have to have another ordinance saying that's what we're gonna do on all the boards, that's what we do.
And that's my point. I would
Yeah.
like to have some type of continuity
Okay.
on how we do things, as opposed to doing it one way for one board and another way for another board. I would actually like to make a motion that we actually address this, that we look at all of our advisory boards and come up with some type of continuity on how we actually approve or,
Well,
I think it's fine if you
Yeah, I can
want
make
to
this
direct
motion, right?
city staff to go back and come up with
consent agenda.
a proposal.
I mean, not
to,
consent agenda, but
yeah,
a
just a consensus.
consensus. We
That
just,
city staff will go back and look at the boards and
Yeah.
come up with a policy that we can implement.
yeah.
all right. Is everybody okay with the consensus? Maybe where it's
Yeah,
just-
but
Okay
I'm
with
saying,
district.
this is right here, this
Yeah,
is to put somebody on
that's
the
what-
board, that's.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right, okay.
All right.
That was number 3.
We have, you want to,
Let's do them. I'm gonna do all those and we'll vote on one time. That was number 3. Number 6.
Number 6 is the road closure for Lux and Low Toys for the car show. We had a problem in the last car show. I don't know who put it on, but I had complaints regarding very loud music. I had complaints that people were parked, the cars were parked up on our pavers and the sidewalks. This can't happen again. I cannot have residents complaining to me. We saw it on, people told me it was on some social media also, that there was excessive noise. And I don't want to see cars parked on the pavers. I don't want to have excessive noise. I don't want, it can't be over what folks are talking. It cannot overpower someone's conversation. Because I had neighbors that were blocks away that said how loud it was. And that's not the environment that we want to create in our downtown area. So I don't know if the person's here who,
I believe, yes, they are, Commissioner.
okay, I guess I want some form of agreement as to what is going to be the issue when, because I will tell you, they'll start calling the police. And I'm going to tell people, my answer tonight would be, if the music gets too loud, shut you down. Because I cannot tolerate my residents calling me, having their Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon disrupted because of the loud music.
All right, before you go, Chief Placencia, can you also come out?
Do what?
Chief? No.
She's
How can I ask you how
How
you're
you
going to
doing?
resolve my concerns or my residents' issues? Because you are doing this in District 2.
Yeah, Arif Mohammed. So with the sidewalk parking, I wasn't aware of that. I was too busy elsewhere until like maybe 30 minutes in. I saw the cars there and I told them to move, but they didn't move as of yet. And then I told the officer. And then, I don't know if the officer went over there and spoke with them, but I spoke with them again and then they moved the cars and they left. They actually didn't come in the main entrance. They came through the railroad entrance. I don't know what street that is, but they came through the railroad, through the barricades, and just parked up there without registering, without anything.
Okay, but you're in charge.
Yeah,
So I'm coming back to you because if something happens and our concerns, the one we're going to come to is you.
yes.
Okay, can you tell me what's the music situation going
So
to
the
be?
music, it's not uncontrollable. It's just, you have some cars all over the place. I told everybody to lower the music. So I went over one side and they lowered it. 20 minutes later, raising again.
I don't want to see, I will tell you, I'm sitting here at the commission. I would make a motion to tell you to shut down if
Yeah.
we're going to have that, because you're in control of what's happening. And I have neighbors, you're in a residential area.
Yeah. I didn't know
And
the,
that's unfair to a resident
I
And that's
understand.
unfair to anyone to have to listen to loud music. So either you put it in your criteria, this is my opinion, I can't speak for everyone up here, but I do not want phone calls from people who are complaining that they can hear it all the way down to the lake,
Got you.
okay? That's not
Yeah,
acceptable.
I understand. I'll strictly enforce, low music at this show. That was just the first one, so I didn't really know how it would be around the whole neighborhood. And this one, I'll strictly enforce that one.
Take a walk down to the lake. It was very loud down there.
Yeah.
And and so I don't know, Scott, what we can.
Do you have an application of those that are coming down to,
Application for,
is there an like if you're gonna bring your car down? Do they submit something so you know beforehand?
they just basically send pictures of their cars for approval. So that's pretty much it. I usually don't allow cars that has like oil leaks or like any kind of like hazardous things. I don't really approve those because it's not safe.
But the music was coming from the cars themselves?
Yeah, so
I
people
understand
just,
there's a DJ there also.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you couldn't even hear the DJ. So
I heard there was
the
a DJ there.
he was told to keep everything low, which was approved. The DJ was approved, but he was supposed to keep it low. But the cars, it was just overtaking him. That's the only issue I was having.
Then, I'm sorry, Scott, I asked you and you
So I was
interrupted.
just, can you instruct those that are bringing the cars, just
Yeah.
not to have music? Just
Yes.
If you're
I'll
gonna
tell 'em.
supply music otherwise with a DJ,
I don't think I was gonna have a DJ this year. I was just gonna have a speaker just to speak out of and just
okay.
announce awards and just updates.
It's probably better.
Yeah, I was told a few minutes ago I was allowed to have music just low.
Low,
Low.
not so that.
Yeah, yeah.
But not
And
so
one
that
at
you're
a time.
disrupting people who live down near the lake.
Got you, yes.
Or who live blocks away.
Yeah.
That they have to listen to your music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just totally inappropriate. It was too loud.
Yeah, it's just like when all of the cars, like 4, 5, 6 cars is going all at once, it's gonna be stupid loud. But if it's like one car going at a time, it's not really loud. But it's just you have all those cars going, that's when it's loud.
Chief, what can we do to, what can the repercussions be from someone if they continue, if they start this and all the cars start with music, or you haven't controlled it?
Yeah, I'll get more under control this show. Like I said, last show was the first one, so I didn't really know what the limit was around the area. So,
We could shut the event down if we
Yeah.
needed to shut the event down.
Is
Last
that-
year, it was right at closing time that all the complaints started coming in about the loud music, and they had a natural close, so we didn't have to force them to close, but we could close them and revoke the permit if we needed to.
You can.
Yes.
It won't be no more.
I mean, because I'm honestly gonna tell you, I'm not listening to residents complain because they're interrupted by loud music, and if you can't, you have to control the folks who are there.
yeah. And you said after the event was shut down, other people were still playing, right?
It was going towards your closing time. You were closing
Oh,
at maybe
got you.
5 or 5:30.
Okay, 'cause-
Right then is when all
Yeah,
the complaints
because I
started coming in.
knew when I left also, people were still there.
You got it.
How am I in control of that, or am I not in control?
Because you're putting it on.
Okay,
You got to shut it down.
yeah. I mean, I did shut it down. Everything was finished, but there were people at the barber shop just hanging out, playing music. How could I be in control of that? Just tell everybody to leave, or?
If they're at the barber shop,
Yeah,
okay, and the road is open now,
yeah, the road's open.
I would assume then it's a police issue, people calling the
Oh,
police.
perfect.
But I think you should really stress to these folks.
Yeah.
That they are in a residential community, and they should be really thinking about the residents that live there and not disrupting their life.
I agree. Trust me, I agree.
Chief, I got and I don't know if Director Rumor, you have the answer to this question, or maybe City Manager. Do we have a noise ordinance? I know the state of Florida revoked theirs.
Yes,
Do we have one?
We do have a noise ordinance, and we have a permit for this process, so we can make a condition of his permit approval to keep the music low as well.
So have we made that a condition?
We can make it a commission. We have not approved his permit because the commission has to approve the road closure. That's why the item is before you tonight. Without the road closure, we cannot approve the permit.
Okay, and what would be the measuring stick for a noise pollution? what would be considered noise pollution? Because we have concerts here and everything else.
Yeah, that's
So
another thing I wanted to
what's the-
address.
What's the yardstick we're gonna use to measure?
So our
What
ordinance
is-
says
what is too
any
loud?
noise, and I'm paraphrasing here, any noise that disturbs the peace of the neighborhood is how it says. It talks in the ordinance. It doesn't give a measurement of 25 feet, 100 feet, 1,000 feet. It just says anything that disturbs the peace of the neighborhood.
Quick comment. So basically, that would be no music at all, because right by the barbershop, there's a house right there. So how would that go about?
There's,
Because-
Barbershop's in that strip shopping center, correct?
Yeah, there's a house literally right at the end of that center.
You should be
and apartments.
respectful,
well, that's,
respectful.
Yeah, I'm very respectful. It's just, I also had a lot of people commenting about the show, saying how, you know, everybody's gonna come up with their own different words. They were saying it's not a family-friendly show. It was just a lot of crazy things going on. But it's just people were just angry because, I can't say why they were angry, but it's just a lot of things they were commenting about the show.
I have a question. Is the security, do you hire security for your event?
I had 2 officers, yes.
You had 2 Ocoee police officers there?
Yep.
Monitoring this event, and as the complaints were coming in, it said it was toward the end of the event. So there were no complaints at the beginning of this event or during the middle of the event. And we had 2 police officers there. Those officers, as we move forward, are they allowed to revoke the permit or to take any type of action to shut it down if it gets out of hand?
They could.
Okay.
In this case, because there was a natural ending to it, which was real close, we just allowed it to end. But we did say the music has to be turned off. So the officers went, got the music turned off on those cars, and then when the event ended, there were no more complaints after that.
Okay.
I commend you for doing this. You want toys for the children. I understand that. But we also want you to be respectful of the community. And we like events to happen.
Yes.
We just don't like to hear
Got you.
the negative
Yeah.
side of it. And you, as putting it on, I ask you to be the responsible party to control these folks.
I
When
understand.
they start turning their radios on, or their speakers.
Yeah, it's just,
You know, it's
too
time
loud.
to tell them, be respectful of the
Yeah.
community.
I got you. I'll strictly enforce it better this time. Now that I know what the limit is.
And keep them off the sidewalks.
Yeah, like I was telling the mayor, they trespassed. They weren't even supposed to come in. So I had them kicked out anyways. So,
all right, thank you.
yes, sir.
All right, number 7. Oops.
Number 7 is, Ms. Richardson wants to run a street event. And the concern I have is, it looks like, it's on a street where there's duplexes.
Yeah.
And it looking like there's about 10 houses, which is 20 driveways. That would be blocked between 4 and 5 o'clock. And I know she's looking for a road closure. I guess I'm asking what anyone's opinion is, because that's a lot of driveways to block between 4 and 5.
She's here.
Ms. Richardson,
Could they do it down by the,
come on, do you mind coming up for a second? Can I just ask you a few questions? I love seeing you out there every day.
let's wave like you do. I see
Yes,
you wave.
but I'm counting about 10 houses, which is about 20 driveways in there, because you're doing it on the street where the duplexes are, right? Right. Have you talked to all the neighbors? Because you're blocking it off from 4 to 5, which,
No.
3 to 4.
It's from 3 to 4:30.
3 to 4:30, which could be the time when a lot of people are coming home.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm just asking you, have you,
Spoken
there's
to any
20
of them?
neighbors, 20 houses there.
I didn't talk to all 20, but I talked to the ones as far as where it was going to be blocked off. But as far as the ones further down, no, I haven't talked to them.
Are you going down as far as there? Because it looks like the way I count the street, it looks like there's at least 10 rooftops, which is 20 driveways.
No, it's only going to be from Sleepy Harbor to the first house, which would be, 2-something, and then to 210. I think it's 20-something 10. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just 8 of the houses from right in the middle.
8 houses is 16, 2 times 8 is 16, that's 16 driveways.
Oh, okay, I got you.
That's a lot of, I'm just,
Oh.
if the folks are concerned?
Well, we've done it before, but we've not asked to have it blocked off, and they have no problem with us doing it before. But there is a lady who just moved in, I guess last month. I haven't talked to her yet. So far, she's the only one I haven't really talked to. I guess I have to take a minute to go and talk to her to see what she feels like about us keeping up noise in her area. But other than that, they seem to be okay. Most of the parents, I tried to get them to sign and say they were approving what we were doing. So far, it's been, when are you going to do it? And I thought, well, I'm going down there today to talk to them to see what we can do, but I'm just kind of waiting on you guys.
Okay, is there anything we should be,
My thought in reviewing the permit was this is not a road closure where you're gonna have a lot of vehicles and vendors blocking the road. It's just hey, we're gathering in the street. So there is another way to access from the rear. So it's, for the homeowner that wants to get home, I'm sure they would just drive, really slow and really move out of the way. But the intent is to, hey, for any just traffic or deliveries, watch out, the road's closed ahead.
okay.
But it's,
I was just counting.
It's okay.
Okay.
That's the only question I had.
That's good.
Okay.
We'll vote on it in just a minute. We'll
Okay.
finish up. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 11.
Number 11 is approval for the Wynwood subdivision for plat, Phase 1 and Phase 2. This is close to the corner of McCormick and, McCormick Road and Apopka Vineland Road. Is this the same subdivision with
yes,
the
came in
300?
as CLRM, yes.
This is D.R. Horton Homes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there anyone here from D.R. Horton?
Yeah.
Is there anyone here?
Probably not, but I can answer the transportation questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, I just want to make sure that they still agree to put the traffic light there at 50%?
Yes, they committed to 50% of the cost of a signal. Now Orange County decides when that signal goes in. They've also dedicated 35 feet for free, and they're constructing the trail. If you go out there presently, you'll see the trail cut in.
I see that. My only concern is been my first concern, when it first came up for the approval. My first concern was that traffic at that intersection. That's still my concern today, as I have invited D.R. Horton to come to meetings, to talk to them about this. I've talked to residents to see if they want to meet with them, to see if we can come to some type of happy medium. I know the county said they were going to pitch in on this, but I do know that D.R. Horton actually did have a credit with the county. They could actually put that light up for less than $250,000, but they had a way lot more than that in the credit with the county, that they could recoup that back from the county really easily. So that was a solution to get it done. But the problem I have is, we're talking about, how many is it, 388 homes total? And then you're talking about half of that at 50%, 2 cars per home, and right now, we're still having problems at the intersection right now. That is a major intersection, a lot of accidents, a lot of problems there. So I cannot, in good conscience, approve anything with D.R. Horton with this subdivision until they can come to the table and say, we need to work on getting that light there, and we need to expedite it, and not at 50%. It needs to be, I would say at least at 20%. Let's start putting the light up. But 50%, that's totally unacceptable. So I cannot approve anything with this subdivision coming before us if they're not coming to the table with some solutions to the infrastructure and putting the traffic light there in the interest of saving lives.
All right. All right, that's, now we've got all the ones. Let's go back. We need a motion for item 6, 7, wait a minute, was there another one? 3, 6, 7, and 11. I need a motion.
Mayor, it sounds like we may have an objection to at least one of them.
You
so
can
why don't
vote
we
no
take
on
them?
it. All right, we'll do them each
Individually.
individually. All right, let's do 11 second.
Okay, you want a motion for 3, 6, and 7?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a motion? Motion
I'll make
made
that
by
motion.
Commissioner Wilson. Here's a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson. Any more opinions? No? Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Now let's go to number 11. Do I have a motion for number 11? Number 11 on the consent agenda.
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
All right, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. No
I-
more comments?
I
Let's
have-
vote.
I have some questions. And I don't know if the chief can let us know. I know Commissioner Oliver just mentioned that there was a lot of accidents at that intersection. Is that intersection being, because I know, which intersection exactly? Is it the Clark Road?
McCormick and Apopka Island.
Okay, so is that accident prone there, or?
That's the county. McCormick is the county, Apopka Island is the county.
Right, but do we have numbers on near misses, fatalities, accidents, MBAs?
Off the top of my head, I don't have those numbers, but I can give those numbers to you tomorrow. I can pull any reports that we might have that show those numbers.
Because I'm alongside the thinking of Commissioner Oliver on this, because we start putting in more, you just add to the problem instead of.
Let me set up what you're approving. You're authorizing the mayor to sign the plat, which is a legal document. This subdivision is a plan unit development. It went through public hearings to rezone it, to annex it, to change the land use and the preliminary subdivision plan, and it came to this commission for a final. It meets all of the standards of the traffic based on Orange County's concerns. It's their McCormick Road, it's their Apopka Island. This is authorizing signing of a legal document.
Okay, so
It
this
does
is.
not, we can't go back and redo a PD that you've approved.
Right.
By voting no on this plat does not redo the PD. The PD still stands.
Yeah, and again, this is just for the PD, so.
No, this is the legal document
For the
that
plat.
sets the corners of the lot, sets the lot numbers, sets the street names.
Okay,
But it does slow them down.
well,
If
I'm
this was
looking,
disapproved, it would slow them down, at least get their attention and say, hey, we need to figure something out here.
Well, they did with the county. The county said, this is what we need. We have a new trail. We want you to give us land for a trail, which will take cars off the road. And at some point, a signal may be warranted. It's not now, but commit to paying 50% of it now, as well as whatever turn lanes they're putting out there. So the county drives those transportation.
so in this case, the developer is in communication with the county.
All of that was approved with the plan unit development ordinance, all of those conditions.
Okay,
We are not approving a light. We are approving what this.
The mayor
stands-
signing the plat Mylar, which creates the lots themselves, creates the street names, yes.
Okay.
This is not approving a subdivision. You approved it under the PUD, the preliminary subdivision plan, and the final. You had three decisions to approve it, and you guys approved it with an objection.
I absolutely understand regarding the plat, but I'm specifically talking about that intersection. So, okay, I'm good.
All right. All right, the motion made, second was, all right. No more comments, let's vote. All right, motion carries 4-1. Commissioner Oliver stated. All right. First reading of ordinances, number 16. First reading of ordinance for Covington Oaks, rezoning from A1 General Agriculture to R1A Single Family Dwelling. Zoning Manager Whitfield.
This is just first reading.
Just first reading.
Let me go ahead and read the
Yep,
title to that
you get
ordinance.
wait.
This is an ordinance of the city of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification. Changing the zoning classification from general agricultural district to single-family dwelling district on certain real property containing approximately 9.94 acres located on the north side of 80 Mims Road, approximately 1,637.5 feet west of Apopka Island Road pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, this will be brought back on October the 4th for the second reading, and then we'll have comments, regular comments then. Item number 17, first reading of ordinance for Ocoee Oaks joint venture, rezoning from A1 General Agriculture to R1A Single Family Dwellings. First reading again.
This is an ordinance of the city of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from general agricultural to single-family dwelling district on certain real property containing approximately 5.71 acres located in the northeast corner of South Clark Road and White Road intersection pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, this will come back on October the 4th for the regular commission meeting and the comments. All right, second reading of ordinance, we have none. Public hearings on item 18, alcohol distance waiver for Inspiration Plan Unit Development, PUD. Development Service Director Rumer.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an item all provisions of the city code. It calls for, has two regulations really for serving alcohol that's not in a restaurant setting, for distance to a school or a place of worship. But there's a provision in there that says if the proposed sale of alcohol is going to happen in a plan unit development or a specific overlay, you can look at that separately in a public hearing and make a decision. And this location is within the Inspiration PUD, which is located off of Tommen Boulevard. It's a really unique plan unit development. It has retail. The first use was a pre-K and daycare, and that pre-K is considered a school in our code. It also has 90 townhomes. And I've gone back with the developer. It was our intent during those original approvals to take care of this alcohol issue up front, but we failed to do it in all the minutes I can read. So we have a user here because of the pre-K that is, now again, restaurants are exempt in this ordinance, but we have a user that's doing a high-end makeup boutique and would like to serve alcoholic beverages. We have an alcoholic beverage license to sign for this, and in order to sign it and approve it, we've got to come to this public hearing to say, within this PD, this plan unit development, it considered a mixture of uses, and when they came forward with the daycare pre-K as the only certain use within the PD, along with the townhomes, it is understood that you're going to have a mixture of uses to include bars, restaurants, maybe a high-end liquor store, cigar, wine store. So this use of alcohol sales in this plan unit development is not detriment to the overall PUD, and it was expected. And I do have the applicant that's going to be opening up the business that would like to speak as well.
Mike, the two uses are part of the same PUD, but there's not interconnectivity. You're not going from the school. You don't drive or walk between the school and
Yes, if you look on the map here, the school, the first building that went in is this long one along the turnpike, and these other uses, these three buildings, are the other commercial retail. We made patio space where the proposed use is, and then you have the townhomes over on the east side. So it's not in the same building. It's not, you're next door to the pre-K daycare, and then the next door is an alcohol. And I say an alcohol use, it could be a liquor store, it could be a cigar. It's the two COP to do the beer and wine is at this location in one of these buildings in the proximity of what under our code, under the pre-K, is considered a school. But the developer owns the school, and he sold them it's a condo, so it's intended that there's going to be a mixture of uses and not like your suburban setting where you would have an OCPS public school, and then right next door on the road, you wouldn't necessarily want an ABC. This is all one organism, one PD, and it was intended to have mixtures of uses and allowed those.
So the building to the west is also a school?
The school, no, over here, yes. So this little parcel is a pre-K as well. The distancing is as you travel, and it's well over 1,000 feet to go around this way and go in there and get to the door. That's it.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody wants to speak in the public hearing, you're welcome to come up.
Good evening. My name is Nikki Shaw, and I am the owner of the Rouge Beauty Lab that I plan to open. It's a very high-end, luxurious place setting in Ocoee that we're trying to open up, but at affordable prices. And one of the ambiance setting that we're trying to set for all our users or customers to come in is basically they're able to make custom cosmetics. So I don't know how many of you guys know about cosmetics, but you can come and make your own foundations, lipsticks, and be at that setting where you feel relaxed. That's one of the reasons we are requesting that we be allowed to be able to serve champagne or wine. Yes. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else, anybody else in the public?
I have a question for her.
Don't go nowhere.
You will be serving wine or champagne, not selling it, just serving it.
We'll be selling it as part of the service, right? So when they buy a package deal, when they come in and they're making a cosmetic, so that comes as a package deal.
Okay. So you mentioned, we're talking about a daycare. One is well over 1,000 feet away. The other, is it actually in the same building or in a separate building?
Yes, sir. The pre-K is part of the Amazing Explorers, this building on the north side of the parcel. And I believe she's leasing a unit in this building. For instance, at the end of the day, I think what you're going to see is we know Rustique is going to move, which is a restaurant, but Rustique is going to move on the south end of this building. We're working with a potential brewery, tap room in this space, which has an outdoor fenced-in area for that type of enjoyment. And then we have space on, I don't know what's going on in the southern building. But we're going to be bringing something back to take care of this PUD in one swoop, so we don't have this issue. This PD was intended for that. So.
Okay.
Where's the location of this business in that?
It's building to Suite 106.
So
So
about
it's-
midway or just beyond
Yeah,
midway?
I'm in the middle.
I'm just wondering.
See that yellow outline?
Yeah.
It's somewhere in there.
Okay, and you say that Rustique is going to be in there along with the.
Rustique's got like
Rustic
four.
is 2 doors down.
And then a
Yes.
brewing company?
I'm talking to a brewing company that is looking at this whole building with this outside courtyard.
So is it also gonna be a tap room, or is that the brewing company?
That's the brewery tap room, wood fire pizza.
So there's,
Yes.
there's a lot of alcohol
Yeah.
serving establishments trying to be,
This is not a blue law area.
yes, we're not a dry county, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? All right. We'll close the public hearing, bring it back up to the council. Need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the waiver.
Your second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. Passes unanimously. All right, thank you. Good luck. All right, number 19, variance request for Romeo at 606 Center Street. Zoning manager. Now you do.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. So the request tonight is at 606 Center Street for a variance. The request is to reduce the front building setback from 25 feet for the zoning district to 6 feet to allow a carport to be installed 6 feet from the right-of-way. So basically a 19-foot encroachment, 76% encroachment. The property is in the northwest corner of Center Street and Cardinal Street intersection. It's about 1/3 of an acre in size. It's zone R1A. It's a corner lot, so it has frontage along both Center Street and Cardinal Street. The current property owner, who is also the applicant, purchased the property in March of 2018. This is an aerial of the property, the surrounding zoning districts. And so with variances, they have to demonstrate conformity to 4 criteria, specifically that special conditions exist, unique to the property, that the literal interpretation of the code would deprive this property owner of rights commonly enjoyed by other property owners with similar conditions, that the conditions specific to this variance aren't the result of actions by the applicants themselves, and that granting the variance doesn't confer any special privileges to this applicant that is denied other applicants. This is a zoom-in version of the survey that they've submitted. The yellowy area is where the carport was proposed to be located. This slide shows a lot. So let me find my mouse. So this is a snippet of the property in 2020. This is the area that has changed most. This is a snippet of the property in 2022. There's a driveway here. This carport was permitted in 2019. This driveway here, which is about 70 feet deep, 23 feet wide, was permitted in 2018. This impervious surface area between 2022 and 2020 was put in without a permit. So calculating the entirety of everything on this lot, it exceeds the maximum 50% impervious. That's one of the reasons why staff is recommending denial. Another reason is that we don't find that there is a need. The need for a carport to protect the vehicles can already be served by on this lot by the carport that's here, and there's room on the other side on the north where a carport could be installed. This image here is this red area shows where the carport would be located, and there's also 2 garage doors there. So the sheltering of cars isn't additional sheltering isn't a true need. So based on that, staff finds that there are no special circumstances particular to this lot, that the literal interpretation doesn't provide any deprivations. Granting the variance would confer special privileges, and the circumstances are the result of the applicant wanting to have an additional carport. So with that, staff is recommending denial of the variance request and to not allow the installation of the carport to be 6 feet from the right-of-way and the property line. And I believe Mr. Romero is here to speak on his own behalf as well. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody in the public have any comments? All right, we'll close it up and bring it back to the commission. All right, anybody want to ask any comment? Now that's why I had it open for public hearings. You can speak, but you have to fill out a form. So, yeah, come on up. You got 3 minutes. Nope, that's 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I'm sorry, 5 minutes. Public hearing.
Good evening. My name is Jose Romero. I live in 606 Center Street. And really the purpose to do the carport, it's pretty simple. I've been with my wife for so many years, and for a long time she wanted a new truck. And that didn't happen for so many years. And 2019, I finally bought a truck for her. It's 3 years, so I still got 3 more years to pay in it. And the reason they put the carport is to keep it in the base shape that lasts the longest as possible. I don't see I can afford another new vehicle, and the conditions are now, the expenses and everything, will probably be a little impossible for me to do on it. That's really the honest purpose to make this carport in front to protect our truck. Well, my wife's truck, not even mine, but I'm paying now.
All right, anybody have any questions? Romero? Or any questions on the issue?
I don't know, it sounds like happy wife, happy life. That's what it sounds like to me.
You've already reached the 50% of the impervious, correct? Landscape?
Yes, this will add probably another 2%. So he'll be a little bit over what he's already at. But yes, currently he's at.
So he's at the maximum. And there's a reason we have, I'm sorry, but there's a reason we have rules in place, and it's 50%. And you've put the driveway, I guess, in the back, and that wasn't permitted?
The driveway was permitted, but there's a lot of impervious that wasn't.
That wasn't permitted? Okay. No, again, you've reached the 50%, which is a factor that we have to live by. Those garages that you have up front aren't suitable for, and I mean, this is personal, I'm sorry, but the
Pretty much
garages up
it's
front?
it's a laundry room and storage,
Okay.
Christmas
So they're
stuff,
not-
Halloween stuff, that kind of stuff, so it's not much room in there.
Okay, no, I mean, it's a personal thing, but I just did the
No,
garage
no, no,
doors.
I don't have no problem to tell you, that's what I have it with
And you
there.
do have a carport in the back?
Yes.
Okay. I have no more questions.
That it? Anybody else?
Of the 4 criteria that he had to meet, did he meet any of the 4 criteria?
It's staff conclusion that he does not.
None of the 4. Okay. All right.
Anybody else? Not, I'm gonna close the public hearing and bring it back up to the dust. Anybody, any more comments? If not, we need a motion one way or the other.
I'll make a motion to deny the variance based on the staff recommendations.
Motion made by Commissioner Forstner to deny the petition,
I'll second it.
and seconded by Commissioner Oliver.
Oh,
What? Oh. All right, any more comments? Let's vote. Oh,
Did you?
y'all voted to give it?
No, we voted to deny it, because the motion.
I did too.
No, the motion was the motion was to deny the variance,
Ooh,
correct?
I messed up, I put the wrong button. Huh?
Yeah.
Let's revote.
Let's revote, sorry about that.
A
I
yes.
gotta learn words, I can't see.
Okay,
A yes vote is to deny the variance.
Okay,
No
let's,
vote.
let's vote again. I might start working around with glasses. All right. Sorry, it turned it down, sir. Appreciate it. It's all right. All right.
Thank you, man.
All right, item number 20, Orchard Park Assisted Living Facility, it's 2755 Grapevine Crest, special exception. Project number 08-22 SE-030, Son and Manager Whitfield.
Thank you. So the request before the commission is for a special exception approval for a major community residential home serving up to 10 residents for the property located 2755 Grapevine Crest. It's generally on the east side of Grapevine Crest, approximately 660 feet south of Clarkona Ocoee Road. It's about 0.21 acres in size. It currently operates as a minor community residential home, which serves 5. And our table 5-1 allows a major community residential home in the R1A AA zoning district. However, the process I'll go into a little bit requires a special exception. So this is the aerial of the property. This is the surrounding zoning. This is the floor plan that was submitted to the building division for review and permitting. And these are the criteria for processing a special exception. So a nuance to this application is that we had to evaluate the application by the special exception criteria, which are presented here, but we also had to evaluate it based on the requirements of a multifamily. I didn't put it in the PowerPoint presentation, but the issue is that Table 5-1 wasn't updated to reflect the special exception for a major community residential home, which it should have been when we did the ALF application process a few years back. So although the table says it's permitted by right, the process to get there is a special exception, a conditional use. And when we looked up the ordinance for conditional use dating back as far as 1992, the conditional use directs staff to look at the special exception process. Section 5-15 of the code that deals with minor and major community residential homes says that in order for a major community residential home to be approved, the commission had to approve a special exception by evaluating that major community residential home as if it were a multifamily dwelling. So we evaluated based on whether or not the use increased a land use density or intensity, or whether or not it impacted the surrounding properties, whether or not it impacted public utilities, whether it met parking requirements, whether or not it met buffering requirements, impediments to pedestrian safety, and things like that. So in terms of density and intensity, it's not increasing it because it's still defined as a single-family dwelling. So it does still meet it still complies with the comp plan and the land development code with respect to density. In terms of compatibility, again, it's a single-family home surrounded by other single-family homes. Whether or not it impacts parking, the one dwelling unit is required to have 2 parking spaces. The house currently serves or provides 2 parking spaces, and the mode of operation is that visitation is by appointment only. So they are guaranteeing that they have available parking on site. When I spoke with the applicants, they do not have parking on street or on the sidewalk. So they're not increasing the building. They're not proposing any new structures. So they are just seeking to go from 5 residents being served to 10 residents being served. At the DRC, there were no discussions. There are some discussions, I'm sorry, the discussions centered on the parking. So they're not going to create any additional parking because the visitations are by appointment only. And the Planning and Zoning Commission hearing, they also discussed parking. And several members of the public spoke in favor of the application. There was no one present at the hearing who spoke against it. I believe the commissioners have received an email from the HOA stating that they had some reservations and some concerns. I will say that a requirement is not to get HOA approval. It's up to the city commission. So it's not dependent upon the HOA, but the applicants can speak to that. So I will say also that when they first submitted the application, because the table said that in 5.1 that the use is allowed, the city staff did write a letter stating that the use is allowed. And I believe they sought out approval by ACA, the Agency for Healthcare Administration, to get the 10 to get the licensing to serve 10. They've had an extension to that letter. We have the reservation, it's a reservation letter, so they still meet the 1,200 and 1,000 foot distance requirement. It was at the time of permitting for the conversion for additional rooms that we realized section 5-15B2 states that a special exception is required. So all in all, the use is still considered a single-family residential home. It's just that we need to evaluate it based on its potential impacts to the surrounding neighborhood. And with that, staff is recommending approval for the special exception for a major community residential home serving 10 residents for 2755 Grapevine Crest. And I believe the applicants are here and they'd like to address the commission.
Are you finished?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Okay, I'm open the public hearing. I have Michael Singh. Come on up to the podium, sir. You got
Good evening.
5 minutes.
Sure will. Michael Singh, along with my wife Reshma Singh. We both reside at 2755 Grapevine Crest in beautiful Ocoee. We've been living in Ocoee since 2002. We've been licensed by the state by ACA since 2016 to take care of 5 elderly residents. We've been doing that with passion and care. I know the concern of the community or the city per se is the parking and the exterior of the property. Like Ms. Anuk said, we do appointments only for doctor visits, family visitation, or friends visitation. Everything is allotted by time and days. We are applying for this special request. We are not expanding the facility exterior-wise or requesting any additional parkings. What we have is what we are dealing with, and for the past 6 years, we've been doing a heck of a job in Ocoee. We had no complaints from residents, we had no complaints from the state, no complaints from the health department. Everything's been 100 and plus percent. What we both do for our residents is a heck of a job. You know, my field of work was aviation. I never dealt with medical field. My wife was in the dental field, and I had a traumatic injury back in '09, and that from aviation to the healthcare is a big transformation. Like I said, right now we have 4 residents that we do care for greatly. We have no regrets of doing this business in Ocoee. We're actually trying to bring more business into Ocoee, and from 5 bed to 10 beds is a big jump. We have the capacity, we have the staff, and we have the backing from the family members that we took care of.
Is that it?
It?
All right.
Any questions?
All right, now I'm on commissioners. Commissioner Oliver, that's your district, right?
Yes,
You want to make some comments?
yes. Just a few questions. How long, are you the original owners of the home?
Yes.
And you've had this as a assisted living facility from the very beginning, from the time you moved into this home?
No, we moved in 2005. We purchased a home, and we got licensed in 2006 for a 5-bed adult family care home.
Okay. When you got your license, did you consult with the HOA to let them know what you guys are going to do and
Yes,
how
we
you're
did.
going to lay it out? And what was their take on it when you?
Their main concern was parking and any residents running up and down the street, whatsoever time of the night and day.
Gotcha.
That was their main concern.
So was that, did you guys come to a happy medium or some type of an agreement to say, yeah, this is okay? Did HOA approve it and say, okay?
Yes, back in 2006, they did approve it. We went to a board meeting at the West Oaks Mall, and they approved it. So that letter was sent to Ocoee with the application.
You currently live in the property, right? That's correct?
I'm sorry?
You live on the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Has there been any complaints with the HOA from the time that you started your assisted living facility till today?
No, sir. No, sir. You drive by, you walk by the house, it's a regular residential home, family home.
Okay. You're going from one capacity to another. So right now you have, what, 5? Is it 5?
Correct, license 5.
And you're going to 10?
Correct,
And 14 would be the max?
correct,
Right. So that means you're going to be making modifications internally?
correct.
Okay, so like the garage or?
The
Are you
lanai
knocking out a
and,
wall, anything like that?
the lanai and one of the bedrooms put up additional wall, that's it.
Okay, and everything that you're doing does not require a permit, is that correct?
It does require a permit, which is what got us here.
Okay, all right. And you mentioned you're going to have to bring on extra staff.
Correct,
Where would they park?
in the driveway.
Okay, and they're parking in the driveway, so how many cars do you own?
2.
And how many additional staff are you bringing in?
One when we're not there.
Do
So
you
my
have a
wife,
3-car garage or is it a 2-car garage?
2-car,
2-car garage?
yes.
Okay, kind of see what I'm getting at here. I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to make sure that you're going to meet the parking requirements, even bringing on additional staff. So you're doubling your capacity,
Well,
but you're bringing on one staff member,
right.
right?
So when we're not, my wife and I are not working, or either one is working, so it'll be one vehicle plus an additional employee. So there'll always be space for 2 vehicles.
Okay,
at
so
all
you're
time.
saying that you actually still work your
Yes,
regular
yes.
jobs?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and leaving one staff member there
Correct.
to take care of while
Yes.
you guys are away?
Correct.
All right. I'm a little torn by this, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because right now, when we look at healthcare in America and where we're going with healthcare, and we have baby boomers living so much longer, these days, and we're running out of space for our grandparents and our great-grandparents. We're literally running out of space for them. And we don't know what to do. What is the solution? The solution is to start putting up assistant living facilities such as what you're doing. So now they're in these neighborhoods, in our communities. And this is how we're taking care of our elderly. And I have no problem with that. The reason I'm torn is because now the HOA all of a sudden has a problem with it, and they're not really, to me, is anyone from the HOA here? Yeah, that's my problem. The HOA, they sent us letters stating they do have a problem with you increasing your capacity, but it wasn't really clear as to what the whole complaint was as far as parking. They didn't say that parking was an issue, and I have not, so far I've not heard that there was any complaints.
But we never had any complaints for parking or any issues
until,
with them.
up until now.
Right.
So-
I guess the HOA president was walking by, I think, 2 days ago, and he saw the orange sign out front, and he questioned, what it's about. So when he
Did they
pulled it
com-
up,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, when he pulled up the barcode, he saw it was for a request for a 10-bed facility. So that's the only reason why they wrote an email in regards to that.
Did they conduct a special meeting for this? Did the HOA have a special meeting to address this?
Not presently, but in 2006, when we initially did the license for 5-bed, we did that meeting back in 2005.
But they did not conduct, they didn't see fit to conduct a special meeting to address this if they feel so
No,
compelled to disapprove this?
no, and no one showed up.
That answers my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right,
I have a,
I've got, go ahead, Commissioner Brinson.
oh, that would be me.
Wilson.
This is more for the city staff. There's no problem with the 1,000-foot
No, sir.
requirement? Okay. Now, the other question I have is based on section 5.8A, I think it is? Is that right?
5-15?
Yeah, I guess, yes, 5-15. Was there a need for the city to go and close that donut hole so if this comes up later?
Yes. The table 5-1 does need to be updated according to the intent back when we developed the ALF application process.
Okay, because this is the second item that's came before us. The first one was the updated super duper salon that was there, that they want to serve wine next to a daycare. And again, I heard the same thing, that shouldn't have happened, but it did happen, so they come before us. So that's the reason I asked that question is, are we going to go back and take a look at that and update that ordinance and/or table to close that donut hole so this won't be
Yes,
an
the
issue?
intent is
Okay.
to fix table 5-1.
Thank you.
No, that's why.
All right, you have some forms you want to turn in? Can somebody grab those?
Good evening. My name is Kathy Cellini. I live across the street from this assisted living facility. Sorry, my voice is going. I'm a certified nurse midwife and an advanced practice nurse practitioner. I have served in the clinical area for about 20 years, done education for 16 years, educating everyone from associate level nurses to doctoral residents in obstetrics and gynecology. I have lectured nationally on issues of continuing education. I have served as the specialist for a law firm dealing with medical malpractice and other issues related to long-term care facilities. So while I'm not an official investigator, I feel well connected to be able to provide evidence to you about the quality of this home. You're right, sir, we do have a problem with aging and how we deal with them in our country. But this home is impeccable. Anything that I would have looked at in going into long-term care facilities, they met. Not only did they meet, but they were able to tell me what else they plan on doing and how they got to where they are and the things that they worry about with their residents. This is not a multifamily dwelling. This is a family. And how they take care of their residents is awe-inspiring. You talk about the needs of having an HOA come and speak. I have to tell you, if you are assuming that HOAs are all together and know what they're dealing with and know what they're supposed to do, you are grossly misinformed, because the HOA at Orchard Park is more concerned with how are they going to take care of the VBROs and the airbed and breakfasts that are in our facility. And if you want to look at parking, then you should come into our neighborhood on a Friday night or a Saturday night when the households that have 2 or 3 teenagers and all of their friends descend upon that house with their cars, or one of the VBROs happens to have a party, and the cars are parked from in front of that house, up the corner, up the block, and in front of our houses. So if you're worried that there's going to be a parking issue with this home, I have never seen one in the 6 years that we have lived there. If you really want to do something about parking, come on a Friday night. All I can tell you is that this is an impeccable home, and doing anything to discourage them would really be a disservice to the elderly people they'll be serving and their families. Any questions I can provide?
No, thank you.
I have a question. I have a question. In your professional opinion, do you see any problem with increasing from 5 to 10 household members?
I do not. They have already told me how they intend to do it, what their concerns might be if they had 2 people in a room, what happens when one of their residents is ill and has to be bedbound, and how do they take care of them. One of the biggest problems that we have when an older resident is institutionalized, for lack of a better word, is the development of pressure ulcers. And that is so quick to happen because these people are ill, they're fragile, they have a really hard time getting around. And if they're bedbound, they have to be repositioned every 2 hours. That doesn't mean you go over and you fluff up the pillow for them or adjust their blankets. That means that you go into the room and you change the sheets, or you move and smooth out the sheets, and you move them from being on their back to being on their side. And 2 hours later, you're back in there doing it again to assure that there's no pressure ulcers that develop. Do I think they're going to have enough time to do that for every resident they have? Absolutely, because of the passion that they spoke about how they care for their residents. Do I worry that every house is as good as theirs? I certainly do, because I have seen the opposite. I have seen things in long-term care facilities that have been licensed by the state and viewed by the state and examined by the state and still do not have the quality that they have. So I have a lot of worries about a lot of places, but that's not one of them.
Thank you for your service, and the applicants are very lucky to have you as a neighbor.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well put. I think I probably can speak for both.
That's why I lecture nationwide.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Turn it on. Sorry. I appreciate that. What I'm wondering is if we continued this to give the opportunity for the applicant to deal with the HOA. Since you haven't gone to the HOA, it appears they've written to us. Regarding, well, I'm just going to read what I've written. In light of the email from the HOA indicating that they are in opposition of your application, and changes in use is a violation of their community, is what I guess we understand, that I would like to make the motion that we continue it to give them the opportunity to resolve the issue amicably before you, and then to come back to set this up for the next meeting, for them to come back. I mean, I think it would be good to give them the opportunity to, again, resolve the issue between you and the HOA, because it appears you haven't gone to them.
Yeah.
Back, but now increasing it to 10 from 5. I realize that. That's why I'm at this point asking that we continue it to allow you the opportunity to go to the HOA, since you haven't done that yet. And I realize that that ACA has given you the authority already.
Yes, they did.
And I realize that, but sometimes it makes it a little easier when you have come to an equitable solution with the HOA. It makes better neighbors.
Okay.
And that's only my comments.
May I?
Let him answer her.
Yeah, I don't see why. We can take it to the board and we put a request for a hearing or however they want to do it. But now my concern is, I mean, if you guys agree and give us the okay to go ahead with this application and move forward, and now the HOA for some reason says, they deny us, what would be our position now, you know? And like I said, our initial application back in 2006, we got the approval from the first committee, and that was sent off. It wasn't required this time. That's why we didn't go ahead and request any answers from the HOA. So, I mean, I don't see why. We can go ahead and put in a request for this exemption for the HOA. But now what it comes down to us, where the city says, okay, but now the HOA is gonna, hold us back and say, we can't approve that.
Yeah, if I may. And Scott, you can weigh in on this if you like. In 2006, you had residents numbered 5.
Correct.
Now you're gonna double that. Right?
Correct.
But also between 2006 and now, the state of Florida has came up with these home-based businesses.
Correct. And that's the
Yeah.
Home Fair Act for homeowners.
And so-
Legislature is pushing for have these residential communities for the elderlies, more.
Right,
more
and
say.
so and I understand going to a HOA because where I live, we have a really strong HOA. And so I understand going to them. But, if the commission says, if we vote to say yes to this, I don't think the HOA has a leg to stand on. But Scott, if you could weigh in on
Well,
that.
I think the concern, and we don't know what the HOA objection is. They've sent you an email saying that this is in violation of the HOA declaration. We don't know what that violation is. But we're not enforcing the HOA. We're not enforcing the HOA declaration either. I think Commissioner Wilson's concern was there hasn't been any approval by the HOA, and the HOA says it's in violation of some regulation in the declaration. And the motion was to request to get that approval before coming to the city commission. Even if the HOA says, no, we don't want this, or we believe it's in violation, the city can still approve it, because we don't enforce the declaration at all. We just follow our own regulations.
Yeah, but also with the state's home-based business. I mean,
Right. I mean, as long as they're in compliance with the state regulations and the city code, that's all we really care about. If the HOA objects, that's really not a concern of the city. I mean, it's a concern for elected officials when residents are upset, but it's a separate issue as far as approval, whether that approval is approved by the HOA or approved by the city and the state.
I don't think the home-based business rule has an effect on this, because I thought home-based business rules were something
Fill out a
regarding if you're not
form, you
living
still
there.
got public hearing open.
And I know he lives there, but the thing is, as for your employees living there, there is some, I'm not sure about that, but, no, but as for, there is some rules. I'm not
But-
100% on the home-based business, so I'm not gonna use that one.
Here's the situation. I don't really have a problem with it, but the problem we got is we're doing things with the homeowner association. We all sit up here, some of it, I don't have a homeowner association, but some of you do. So how do we as a city go against homeowner associations when we set them up for them to have homeowner associations? And that just tells me that the homeowner associations can go dump the creek by what we're saying. So I don't know where it comes down to with the law on that, Mr. Lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, again, the homeowners association have their own regulations.
Can they go back after them?
Absolutely. If they're not in compliance with the declaration, then the HOA has some kind of standing or action against them. That's separate and apart of any approval from the city commission.
Okay, the other point I was gonna make, we had one here 2 months ago, where I live at, down the street from where I live at, and I don't see a car, period, there. The one lady drives a car, parks it in the garage. Never seen the car outside. And they got it meticulously. That place looks like it's great. So I never see them, never see cars, never see anybody there. So I'm just worried about what happens with these, what I would say a citizen would say, or the homeowner association, why do they have a homeowner association? you know, if you can overturn their rules, so why would you ever go to them to start with? Because what it says here is, and I'm not against it, don't get me wrong, but I'm telling you what it says. The property owner at 2755 Grapevine Crest has not presented any information about this rezoning to the board. Therefore, it has never been on the HOA board's agenda for action. Then on number 2, they say the current use of the property is inconsistent with the governing HOA documents. So what you're saying is, it don't matter.
We don't know what the violation is under the HOA documents, because all we have is a statement from the HOA that it's in violation. And it doesn't matter. We do it all the time where we approve something and we say, hey, you're getting city approval, but this is not approval from the HOA because we're not enforcing the declaration from the HOA.
All right, all right, Mr. Lomdex.
Mayor, let me ask a question.
All right, go on.
Along what you were saying, Mayor, I think I think you make a good point, because you're looking at, there's literally 3 different things we're looking at here. There's three facets here. The state of Florida has laws, which is governed by OSHA, and we also have the city ordinances that we operate under the city ordinances, and then you also have HOA, which has governances as well. Now, one thing I do know about HOAs is that in case of legalities, when it comes to like foreclosures, those kind of things, HOAs actually trumps the judicial process of foreclosure. So they do have a lot of power. So the question that I have here is, since when I mentioned that the HOA sent us a letter, but they didn't identify as to what was being violated in their ordinance, or in their governance. So until we can determine if there's a violation, because obviously it sounds like something has changed. In 2006, you got an approval for 5. So there was something in the ordinance or in their governance that stated that you were allowed to do so. Or not, or they could have just said approve it, and it's not, and it's actually silent on that. So right now, I guess the question is, does your HOA have any verbiage to determine that you can or cannot have a assisted living facility legally? If it's silent, then the state of Florida and our ordinance trumps anything that they have, because it's silent. They have not addressed it.
Commissioner.
But if they actually do have something in their ordinance that state that you cannot do this, or get approval before you upgrade it or change it, then I can see going back to the HOA to get approval before we move forward.
But that's what they said. They said they have not been before their board. They did not come to the board. So no, they haven't.
Yeah, but they didn't identify in the letter, in their email, they didn't identify what section, what subsection that they violated.
Well, they need to have them come tell them what they're doing. If they haven't told them what they're gonna do, and that's what it says, the clarity of what they're doing. The other thing they say at the end is exactly what I said. Like I said, I'm not against it, because I see what the other one was. But it says here, respectfully, as a board, we strongly believe this rezoning exception needs a reset to get it right. Otherwise, the city runs the risk, what I was telling you, of ignoring facts, rendering HOA documents meaningless, and silence the voice of Orchard Park homeowners. So, all right, Mr. Lumley.
Brad Lomneck, Veronica Place. I'm also the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board. Just want to say a couple things. This has been noticed twice, right? There was a planning and zoning meeting. There was probably 30 people in this room on this particular subject. There were a bunch of people from the neighborhood, and there was one gentleman that also announced himself as the ARB board member of the HOA. So I would say the HOA sent a letter, but they're not here tonight. So they should have took the time to come here. The respondent has done this twice now. There was a lot of people here in favor for it last time. So I would say, I don't think we should worry about the HOA. They didn't come. This has been noticed twice. So, thank you.
All right. He said it was work commitment. He couldn't be here, so I'm just telling. All right. Mike. I'm sorry, Mr. Rumor.
Well, I just want to say I have the distinct pleasure of being a president of my HOA. They don't pay me enough, so I still have to have this great job. But really, an HOA is a not-for-profit and with a fiduciary requirement to make sure you keep your property values. You do that through many different ways. So this is just between them and the HOA. It's a partnership for a not-for-profit. They deal with it on their own. We have no governance over
All
that.
right. We
How
can
many-
talk
how many
all
mem-
night about it. We need to just get to it, I guess.
How many members sit on your HOA board? There's 5, and not one of them could make it. Okay. I'm being attacked by a little bug up here or something. I think
All
one
right.
of your HOA members attacking me.
All right. Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing then. All right. We need a motion.
I want to make the motion to continue it.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson to continue it. Do I hear a second?
Attempting to resolve the issue with the HOA.
Ma'am, if I can ask this question, when do you plan on starting this new, how long, or have you already kicked that can down that road?
Well, we have already started. Prior to the application, with all the information that we had, we got the approval from Ocoee, from the state, for the 10-bed, so we are already licensed for 10. We haven't taken any residents in because we're still waiting for all this process to go through. I don't see why. I can go ahead and send it to the HOA members. I guess they probably want a formal invitation to the party. I can, apply for an application and bring it to them, see what they say. But, yeah, we're 100% in. We already got signed off by the health department. We already signed off by the fire chief for the sprinkler system and alarm system. So we've invested a lot of money into this already. And, we haven't gained anything back per se. So.
I would, even if you went back to them, if they did turn it down, you could come back to us. I mean, it could come back. I'm telling you, we're just telling homeowner associations that don't.
I mean, we basically need you guys to approve it so we can go ahead and get one section, signed off by the fire chief for our CEMP book. And then, I can just take it to the HOA, just formality, and ask for the request for this.
Scott.
All right, that fell for his lack of second. All right. Do you hear another motion?
Mayor, let me ask this question here. Are you prepared to defend yourself against a lawsuit if the HOA came before, let's just say we approve this tonight, and you're okay, you continue to move forward. If your HOA brought their governance before you and say, hey, you're violating this governance according to this paragraph, this section, this subsection, and you're in clear violation of that, that gives them the right to go after you legally. Are you prepared to defend yourself in a legal battle with your HOA?
Well, they'll be going against the Harris Act and the Fair Home Act, because as a homeowner, we're allowed to have a business in an HOA once we don't break the governance of parking and destroying the neighborhood. So it will go back and forth between us and the HOA per se and the legislator, because.
And I think that's what Commissioner Wilson's trying to avoid.
Have you read all your documents? Because I have to tell you, I haven't read ours. I have to look at the HOA to find out.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can approve this, and we'll take it to the HOA, like you said. I'll take it to them tomorrow and put a request to get their feet on it, because, like I said, back in 2006, they signed us off, the original HOA.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that we approve this.
Motion made by Commissioner Bretson. Well, let's just make the motion to approve it, yeah, okay. And sorry, sir, second.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. All right, any more comments?
I'm going to vote no, only because I would like to go back to the HOA before we approve this, but that's my decision.
Okay, let's vote. Motion carries. Thank you. I would ask you to please go back and see if you could sit down with them and come up. Even take that nice lady in the back. Didn't you say you're on the board? Oh, you ought to be. I know. Oh, yeah, well, that goes on. Well, here's the deal. I would ask you to go back and try to be peacemaker with it and, you know, try to. All right, thank you. All right. All right, number 21, 429 Business Center, Phase 2 East. Can we take, we need to take about a 3-minute break. All right? 3-minute break. Let's go.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
On the last item we did, it was pointed out that we had kind of a discrepancy between Table 5-1 as to that it was permitted, where elsewhere in the code it addresses a special exception, and the city staff wanted to get that clarified. I think it'd be appropriate for city commission, just by consensus, to direct city staff to do that, to make that change, just for the city's own protection in case there are other applicants that come forward between now and then.
I agree.
I think you got your consensus.
So did we consent?
No, I don't think, yeah, I think we heard enough from the commission.
All right, item 21. Business Center, Phase 2 East, large-scale preliminary site plan.
Okay, thank you. 429 Business Center Phase 2 East, large-scale preliminary site plan. The property is located on the west side of Ocoee Popka Road. It's about 11.23 acres in size. It's part of a larger development called the Business Center Phase 2. It also includes the All-Star corporate headquarters to the north. So this has an east and a west side. The west side will be the next presentation. The property is inside of the 429 Overlay Business Center character area and the Ocoee study area. This is a clip from the city's vision plan for the business character area, where it focuses on larger footprint buildings and industrial uses. Again, it highlights the desire to have more industrial uses in the business center area. This is an aerial of the property, the surrounding zoning districts. This is the site plan. So what this development proposes is 126,402 square feet of industrial and flex warehouse space. The front building that will be visible from Ocoee Popka Road is 36,400 square feet. The project will include a proposed right-of-way, a 50-foot right-of-way with a new road construction. The road will stop prior to the canal. This is a draft elevation of the building from Ocoee Popka Road. And this is a notch-out area to give it the appearance of two separate buildings. The area behind this notch-out area will be essentially storage capacity, not so much flex warehouse space. Both the DRC and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval based on 3 conditions: resolution of outstanding staff comments via the final site plan, the installation of off-site utilities, including ownership and maintenance of those utilities, as well as the execution of a development agreement relative to the dedication of a 24.5-foot right-of-way along Ocoee Popka Road, as well as the 50-foot post dedication. And with that, staff is recommending approval subject to those same conditions.
You have any? All right, we're going to open to public hearing. Any comments, anybody, owners? No comments? All right. Or anybody up here have any comments?
I'm just having trouble. Is this back up right to Palm Park? Is this directly at the far end, the circle of Palm Park? The walkway around it? The property that backs right up to it? Is that what I'm, yes, okay, that's the only one I know.
Yes.
Any other comments?
The loop.
Before we get a motion, I'm going to abstain from voting. The real estate company I deal with is tied into that. So I'll abstain with that. Melody has no form today, so I got to get it in the morning.
Yeah, you got to do it now.
No, I know.
Form AP,
Yeah,
yeah.
yep. She doesn't have one here. The merits. All right. Anybody else, you need to make a motion?
I make a
Or
motion.
make comments?
Ooh,
Comments or motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary site plan, providing that all the recommendations are met.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Fershner. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Brinson. Any more comments? If not, vote. Motion carries with 4 yeses and the mayor abstained. All righty. All right, item number 22, 429 Center Phase 2 West.
429 Business Center Phase 2 West, large-scale preliminary site plan.
Same thing.
Again, this is in the same development area on the west side of the canal, east side of Pine. The property is about 5.5 acres in size, and also within the overlay area. Similar clip from the vision plan, these 2 slides. The aerial, again, is on the opposite side of the canal, surrounding zoning districts. The project is 70,720 square feet of industrial warehouse space, flex space. The continuation of the proposed east-west road along the north side of this and the east side. As part of the rezoning approval for this side, there will not be any vehicular, commercial or industrial traffic going onto Pine Street until such time that Pine Street gets improved to a regular city road standard, and then dedicated to the city. I'm sorry, it's dedicated to the city, but in the CIP and then improved to be able to carry traffic. With respect to the condition from the rezoning, there will also be signage as appropriate to eliminate or limit cut-through traffic from travel coming from Ocoee, Apopka Road onto Pine Street. This is an elevation of the building from Pine. Again, the DRC and PCC recommended approval, subject to 4 conditions: resolution of outstanding staff comments, the installation of utilities, the execution of the development agreement, and a condition regarding vehicular traffic onto Pine and cut-through traffic going from Ocoee, Apopka to Pine. And with that, staff is also recommending approval, subject to those 4 conditions.
And Mayor, I'd just like to provide an update. If you recall this parcel, when we were annexing it and giving it the light industrial land use, there was some discussion on Pine Street. Since that date, we have secured a consultant to give us a 30% design of a future Pine Street. So then we can take that 30% design and that estimate of cost and then bring it forward to you during the next budget CIP process to get it put into the capital improvement plan for the future. What you will see after this step is the final engineered plans. When that comes back to you, I anticipate we will have a page in there that will show that this western road will be cut short of Pine Street, and so you can't traverse it, so Pine Street will not be used. I'm hoping that in the time that they do the site work and by the time they build this building, we may have Pine Street underway. But until then, we will have a clear demarcation that it's on the developer to build the new road all the way. But until such time as we are ready to bring a Pine Street, because it's 25 feet in some areas and it's not 50 feet all the way, but we're working feverishly to try to get that understood and hopefully get a project before you all to make Pine Street so we can have a true block structure out there. And I'd just like to say this business area is really taking off. You know, we have the Vermeer headquarters. Not only do we have this building, which will have flex space, but we just got a headquarters of another building that you guys will see in a couple months called All Star Lighting. It's our corporate headquarters for this business, which will be on the north end. And then you know that we have the McCraney development up at the Blueberry Field. So this west side of Ocoee Apopka is really going to bring us some in-migration of employment, and that's the visioning coming together, and that's when Ginger was talking about the revising the plan for the CRA, that's where it starts. We revise the plan, we come up with the goals, and the developers know what we are looking for. And just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Open the public hearing. Anybody in the public have any comments? Not, we're gonna close the public hearing, bring it up to the dais. Anybody up here have any comments? No comments, I'll make the same comment, I'll fill it out for this one tomorrow also. Same business, all right. Need a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Brinson, seconded by Commissioner Wilson. And no more comments, vote. Thank you very much. Carries 4 to Mayor abstaining. All right, thank you. Thank you, guys. Let's see, regular agenda, none. Comments from citizens, no more, I have no more filled out for comments, so. All right, so close that, go on down to comments from commissioners. Commissioner Rock, huh?
Can I go first?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I want to go first.
Okay.
Okay. As you know, I've always been fiscally conservative for the past 13 budgets. I've been here for 13 years. And I'm asking for residents to attend our final budget hearing tomorrow evening, Wednesday at 6 p.m. and speak your opinions. These comments are my opinions, so that tomorrow evening we can make sound decisions in the final budget. And I'm requesting your presence. As in my last 13 years on this commission, I am mystified. Would you like me to start over? Can you reset the clock? Sorry. As you know, I've been here for 13 years, and I'm very fiscally conservative. So I am here asking for residents to attend our final budget hearing tomorrow evening, Wednesday, at 6 p.m., and speak your opinions. These comments I'm going to make are my opinions, so that tomorrow evening we can make sound decisions on the final budget. And again, I'm requesting your presence. As in my last 13 years on this commission, I am mystified and annoyed by what is taking place. For the first time in my tenure, this budget process has been a show. What do I mean by a show? Well, first of all, we have a professional staff who prepare the budget based on our direction, and our staff does a great job. We get to the budget workshop, and everyone on the board is supposed to agree on what needs to go into the final budget. If there are discussions to be had, that is the place for it to take place. The budget should be near completion by the time we come to a public hearing. What this commission did was turn the entire process on its head and use emotional arguments to not only go above our proposed millage rate, but to do so in a manner that defies sound judgment and reason. Last week, we held our first budget public hearing after the budget workshops, and during which time 3 members of our commission approved a $100,000 line item for the Human Relations and Diversity Board for events to be planned. And I say to be planned. There were only 3 planned events that were spoken by the chair, who requested $50,000 for those events. The chair never, and I say never, requested $100,000. The chairperson asked for this amount, and the commissioners doubled the budget line item on speculative events based on the testimony of another HRDB member. This is not appropriate to use your tax dollars, in my opinion. I could see a specific amount with a business plan of each event. I would challenge you to find a city our size in Central Florida that all of a sudden sees the need to begin spending this kind of money on events. A week normally doesn't go by that I'm asked for sidewalk repair, and some of us have fought hard for $200,000 in that budget for next year for sidewalks, which I don't think is enough. This is double of what the commissioners feel we should spend on speculative events. Boards, not to mention the employee time that needs to be used to plan these events, which goes to my point of haphazard expenditures. For frame of reference, go ahead and add another $50,000 in staff time and expenses to that $100,000, because that seems to never account for the cost of events. Not to forget hiring a PR firm to manage one of these functions. My feelings are the sidewalks and road repairs as a safety issue outweigh events. If anything, the budget for sidewalks should be increased, and I made that request. This commission has placed itself at a crossroads that I never thought I would witness here. We have members of this commission that will repeatedly use the development approval process to harp and rant about infrastructure, even after staff has evaluated the infrastructure provided by developer, and even vote to citing that we know we need more infrastructure. Well, we actually have missed the boat if we sit here up here and talk about out of one side of our mouth and are willing to take money that could be put in infrastructure and give it to a volunteer board with no plan and no thought as to what events are to be put on. I personally feel in this economic times we should stick to the events that our chairperson asked for funding for and evaluate real proposals for events with the knowledge the city is not footing the entire bill. The only event I'm aware of in this city that raises their own funds is the music festival. The Spring Fling has a history of approximately 15 years, and each year the supporters have done fundraising. I'm very tired of the emotional shock and the campaigning that goes on up here with tax dollars hanging in the balance. We need to be responsible advocates for what we feel our citizens need. That's why we are here. After we spend almost 2 hours discussing the Youth Council and HRDB, Mr. Oliver reviewed the $112 billion budget and spoke of small items such as postage. I need to clarify that I spoke to the city manager questioning where the postage was coming from for my mailings, at which time I asked for mine to come out of my discretionary fund. To discuss $100 and $500 items or a roof repair of $40,000 on the Lakeshore Center that's out of warranty. If that was my home and I had a leak, I'd be fixing it. That's called ownership. And that's what the city should be doing, is ownership. I've lost my place, hold on. Yet, we can budget $100,000 on events in a wink of an eye. As I'm really crossing my fingers that another emotional argument didn't win the commission over an audit, an additional audit, unspecified and vague, that references the potential mismanagement. We are currently audited by a firm that we as a commission approved. We were given $10,000 for our discretionary use. Mine was used for police items that benefit the residents of Ocoee. This is a public record. Feel free to ask what all your commissioners have spent out of their discretionary fund. I'm going to close by saying that I implore one of you, Commissioner Brinson, Commissioner Firstner, Commissioner Oliver, to do the right thing tomorrow night. One of you can bring this $100,000 issue up tomorrow for a revote. I really want to think that one of you at least will realize that this was a knee-jerk emotional reaction and not a fiscally responsible action. I also call on all citizens who can appear tomorrow night and implore the commission to recant on the $100,000 event expenditure. I say all this because I want you to know where your tax dollars are going. And if this budget passes as it stands, I hope you enjoy your events over sidewalks. Thank you.
Commissioner Brinson.
I'm going to talk about roundabouts and their usage. We got to be careful using roundabouts. Again, I'm getting calls where near misses and kids are being crossing the road near roundabouts and they're almost being hit. I implore the drivers of vehicles, wherever they may be in the city, that has a roundabout to be extra careful. If you don't know how to use a roundabout, please find out. Go to YouTube or wherever you have to go to find out how to negotiate roundabouts. You know, they're here. I don't think they're going anywhere, so you got to figure out how to negotiate them. I will say this: speed and recklessness, both of them, you know, they equal tickets. Slow down. We have way too many people speeding on our streets. It is important. I try to make sure that I remember to talk about driving every commission meeting, because I don't think that's a horse that's too dead to beat or ever will be too dead to beat. 9 o'clock routine. Remember, at 9 o'clock, check your car doors, your home doors, doors to your garages to make sure they are not only closed but also secured and locked. And this one is a big one, and that is fires and burning stuff on your private property. that's a no-go. You should not be burning 55-gallon drums of stuff on your private property, and you live right next door. You have neighbors living right next door. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Let's not do that. Be respectful of your neighbors. And the other one is this, and this is really going out to all the parents, all the teachers, all the community advisors, and all the youth. They have fentanyl out there now, and fentanyl is candy colored. And fentanyl, if you don't know, it is very, 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 very dangerous. Just a little bit of it could kill you, at the very least, send you into an overdose. Be mindful. Don't accept things from people you don't know. But right now, these drug dealers are being very devious, and they're making these hardcore drugs and addictive drugs and dangerous drugs look like candy. So be mindful of that, because if you don't, there's an alternative, and we don't want to address what that alternative could be. And other than that, that's all I have.
All right, Commissioner Firstner.
We're coming up on the height of hurricane season. Please be vigilant, prepare your homes, prepare your family plan. It should get a little more active within this next month, so be prepared, be aware. School's in, be careful. It's getting darker earlier these days, so be careful with your driving. There's a lot of kids on the street during school, after school, so drive with care. That's it.
Ooh, you're fast tonight. Commissioner Oliver.
Again, school's back in. We're finished with the first semester. We're going into the second semester of school, and yes, our school buses are on the roads. Kids are on the roads, so slow down. Be careful. Pay attention to what's going on, especially early morning, late afternoon, coming home from work. Pay very close attention to your speed. Also pay close attention to the kids walking on the sidewalks as well as crossing the crosswalks. Also, traffic. On the corner of Ingham Road and Ocoee Road is something that we've been discussing for quite some time now, the traffic signal there. I had the opportunity to go by the intersection this past week, and there's power there. So there is activity, even though you may not see it as you drive by. They've actually ran power there to all four corners of that intersection. There's also signage placed there by Orange County stating that there's a future stop signal coming, and I believe they've already laid out the forms as to where they're going to pour the concrete. So that's been laid out. So we're actually moving forward, even though you may not see it as you drive. But if you walk by there, you'll see the work that's being done there. So let's just be patient, and it's coming. So again, in the hopes of saving some lives, that is definitely something that is much needed and has been much awaited. Also, I'm going to echo the call out to the citizens to come out to the budget hearing. The budget hearing, the final budget hearing for the public hearing for the budget is tomorrow at 6 p.m. right here in City Hall. So I'm going to urge you to come out, and this is your opportunity to speak up as citizens to talk about our tax dollars and how we spend our tax dollars. Again, as Commissioner Wilson so passionately put it, that she's appalled by certain things, but it's okay, and we all have passions that we stand up for. One of the things I was passionate about is that light, and the light's coming. So again, we did actually set aside $100,000 for culturally diverse events in the city. So it wasn't just money to be thrown away for a festival or just to have a good time. It is actually a festivals that will be all inclusive of all citizens that brings us all together. So that's what that was done for. Also, Clark Road is also undergoing widening. I think Mike Rumor maybe, is Mike Rumor here? I want to get an update on the Clark Road widening project as to where we are, what phase, if he's still here. And he may not be here, but if he is, if he comes back, I want to get an update on that. Oh, there he is.
Commissioner,
Hold the clock for a second. For that, yes, go ahead, Mike.
Commissioner, that project is, because it's construction, is transferred to Public Works and their right-of-way managers. So I'm not kept up to speed on the day-to-day, but we'll get that and email it to you.
Okay,
with the-
sounds good. Thank you. As we all know, that general elections are coming up. They're set for Tuesday, November 8th, and we just went through redistricting. Right now, a lot of folks are a little confused about where they go to vote. So I'm gonna urge you to go to the Orange County Supervisor of Elections website to actually figure out where you actually go to vote. It is my understanding that the last day to register to vote is going to be October 11th, so that date is coming up pretty soon. It is important that you get out and vote. It doesn't matter who you vote for, but it's important that you exercise that right to vote. So please, 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 register to vote and exercise that right to vote. And again, you can contact the Orange County Supervisor of Elections Office at 407-836-2070. They'll be more than happy to help you out with where your polling place is and any deadlines that you may be facing to vote. So very important, get out and vote. One of the things that I do when I'm traveling is I listen to talk radio a lot. Sometimes I listen to podcasts. Other times I listen to pick up different radio stations. One of the persons that I constantly listen to, no matter where I'm at, he's always in those markets. Is a guy named Neil Bortz. He talks about politics. He talks about cake baking. He talks about skiing. It's a talk show, and he talks about all kind of different topics. And he has all these different facts, interesting facts about things that he talks about. One of the most important things that I really like hearing him talk about when he finished talking about a subject, he always says, "Don't believe what I say because I said it." He says, "Know what you believe because you took the time to find out for yourself." This is what he always says when he signs off or when he's talking about an important topic. Whether he's talking about politics or he's talking about NASCAR or he's talking about NFL, baseball, whatever it may be, he always ends with that. Know what you believe because you took the time to find out why you believe it, right? He also said, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. I also agree with that as well. And it brings me to my final point. And when I listen to Neil Bortz say these things, I'm always reminded of my mother. My mother-in-law, she's an ordained minister, and she has a Sunday school class where she teaches Sunday school. She also has a Bible study. And her Bible study is it says, know what you believe and why you believe it. And I think that's very important. That's very important for us. And if we take that and we take it to practical life, what we deal with every single day, may it be dealing with your spouse, your kids, your coworkers, your friends, or whatever it may be, or just in school. Know what you believe and know why you believe it. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, a couple quick things I want to bring up. I went a couple weeks ago, September the 3rd, to get a little talk at the Caribbean Vibes radio show aired on WOKB. They had a fundraising family day across the street from the in 101 South Park Road. It was great. I went there early in the morning. It was a little warm, so it was great. I wanted to thank Miss Aunt Butler Dawkins for inviting me out. She did a great job. They also, with the Junior B, they're on the Caribbean Vibes radio show aired on WOKB 1680 AM on Saturdays from 9 p.m. to midnight. And she said, we are willing to assist you with any community service announcements in the future. The other one I got is from the sheriff's, Orange County Sheriff's, it's called Blue Line, and all my diversity money's gone to, what do you call it? Not diversity. Discretionary fund has gone to, like, on the different things for the schools and the bands. They are asking for a donation from us for their mission is the foundations we support are public 501c organizations formed to bring together charitable donors, community leaders, and nonprofit organizations, and to encourage non-tax-based philanthropy efforts for the benefit of law enforcement employees, their families, and innovations in crime fighting, all with the goal of enhancing sheriff's office services and to enhance the quality of life of reducing crime and the fear of crime throughout our state. I was going to ask if we could, there's a $3,000 one and a $1,000 one, and we have 15.5 in the consent agenda. I was going to see what everybody thought about that.
Discretionary budget.
I don't have any discretion. No, it's in our general, in our contingency. What is it?
Contingency.
Contingency. Yeah, there you go. I got it.
How much do they want?
Yeah, there's a $3,000 one for a table and there's a $1,000 for one. I went one time to, a long time ago, but I guess they remember and sent me this. It's Arlen, the place, Sheriff's Department, Orange County Sheriff's Department, and it's raising money for the food and stuff like that. They help take care of somebody, they get wrecked in the car, they get hit on a motorcycle, or the family, somebody gets shot. So, anybody want to do it or not? Our sheriff lives in Ocoee.
Okay, so I think I know what the fund is. Is it buying a table, is that?
Well, there's, like I said, it's you can get up to $20,000. I didn't think you guys wanted.
I don't think you want to do that.
I figured a $3,000 one or $1,000 one. And the consent agenda, we're up until 9/19, we had $15,500. Let me ask you another question. Who's Robert? When we end it in the first of October, can we take that money and put it into the, nope?
Unfortunately, Mayor, that goes away at midnight on September 30th.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so, anybody make a motion to give them $1,000 for that out of the contingency fund, or $3,000, whichever you like.
How much is in there now?
$15,500.
I would like to see some Ocoee charities benefit from some of that.
Well, you gotta find the ones to do that.
Oh, that'd be easy to find.
We stayed away.
Oh, that'd be easy to find.
That's why we had a discretionary fund, is that we did not go to nonprofits or organizations, that was the object of a discretionary fund. That people were not coming up here to us to ask us for funds from any organization, that it was totally out of your discretionary. Totally out of your discretionary funds, so we were not doing organizations or nonprofits. That was-
Is this a nonprofit we're getting ready to give to now?
We give $50,000 out if everybody gives their money out.
I'm sorry, is this a nonprofit organization we're giving to now?
Yes.
Okay.
501c.
That's why I think I hate to
If
say
I
it,
if I had any left, I'd give mine to the schools,
I have none left.
and I have none left, because it's where it goes.
Well, if we want to give
And our-
something
Our
to,
place is doing a function with, and I give theirs
You
to
got
my last.
$67?
Anybody want to give 1,000 or not? Or 3?
I agree.
Huh?
I think that since we've made
You
it,
make a motion, or we can
Well, I don't know if we need a motion.
consensus?
For it to come out of contingency.
Yeah.
I would like to see some of those funds go to a local organization.
They're local too. The
Yeah.
Sheriff Department
Yeah,
comes
Sheriff
out here
Department.
also.
Yeah, but we also have a police department as well.
Well, I know, but we give money to other people that's not all right here in town either. So,
Yeah.
a lot of students.
Yeah. What is it? I don't know, well, I don't know what the $1,000 for and what the $3,000 for. I don't want to make a motion without knowing what I'm making a
It's,
motion for.
in reality, all you're doing is donating, either donating 1,000 or you can go up above that to 20.
Okay, so this is for their gala.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you want to go to it, you're welcome to go. There's one. If you take the 3,000, you got more at the table. I don't think I'll be in town, but
is anyone from the police department want to go?
that's what I'll find out.
Oh, this is,
They're usually.
so
some-
1,000,
Huh?
$1,000 a single seat.
You only have $65.
Clicking time, fellas.
Be short $900. So, is it $3,000 for a table?
I think that's what it says. I can't remember yet.
I don't,
I was just going with the two cheapest ones.
right, and I understand, it, but the $1,000.
The whole thing, it comes down, the money goes to a 503C, no matter where they're gonna use it, in the tables or whatever. I don't plan on going anyway, so.
I don't see details.
I will just tell you, I'm not opposed
Yeah.
to, but I think that when we made that, it was not an ordinance or a resolution or anything
Yeah.
like that. I'm looking at you, Mr. Oliver, but it was discussion.
Give me that.
What's that?
All right, so I'm not gonna prolong it. If anybody wanna do it, I'll let them know, so it's,
I would like to see us do something, but I think $1,000 is a lot for one
but
seat.
they don't have any below 1,000.
No, I'm saying a lot for one seat.
Well, I mean, it's really not, That's just what they got it down for. It's going to the charity, the $1,000, no matter who sits in the chair, you know. I'm not, like I said, if you want to be the one that goes, I'll let you be the one that goes. You work for the police department, I'll let you go.
Well, I work for one. Well, and this is the challenge, because I understand.
October the 21st on a Friday night.
I don't know,
I think I'm.
I just heard this fiery speech about spending tax dollars, and all of a sudden, we want to spend $1,000 a seat. I have a problem with that. I got a problem.
Not for some of the money we give away, you shouldn't have a problem with it, you know? This is for, well, I don't have a problem telling you guys don't want to do it, so that's fine with me. I'm telling you. It's just
October?
They help us out every now and then. I know the sheriff department does. October the 21st.
Can someone, after October 1st, if they want to make a donation out of their own
Nah,
discretionary
you can try
fund,
it,
they
yeah.
could do that?
Whatever, I'm not
And
gonna
then
worry
do-
about it after
I know,
tonight.
I know.
I'm really, you know, like I said, the 15.5 in there, $1,000 is not gonna hurt us.
Yeah, we got 15,000 in there. I would make a motion that we,
Do 1,000.
I'm torn, because I don't know what 3,000 gets us. That's the problem I have.
Well, there's a thing on here that says.
It see
I
details,
can
but there's
find
no
it, I
details.
didn't. Somewhere, hold on. Well,
Yeah, see,
I know I seen it today.
We'll be back before this happens, right?
Well, I think there's a deadline.
Because that doesn't share with me what we get for it.
I think there's a deadline, but I'm not, you know, there was something on here today that said that. Maybe I lost that. Huh. Yep. Single seat VIP access, $1,000. That's what it is. Yep.
I'm not touching that after I'm fiscally
I
conservative.
don't matter to me. You make a motion or not, it don't matter. So if you don't make one.
Yeah, I can't make it.
All right, that's fine. I'll tell them, city said no. All right, that's good. All right. I hope everybody pays attention. I hope it goes out online that we do have people come tomorrow night. A lot of different people. We need people to come to this thing, citizens from everywhere. We need them to come and sit in and listen to the budget process. We got to finish it up tomorrow night. I hope we can get back close to where we were at, Rob. So with our thing, and still be able to do the things we got to do with citizens. Respect to citizens is putting the sidewalks, trimming the trees, things like that we need to do, especially the asphalt on roads. With all the rain we've got, it is a mess riding through some of the streets now. So that's some of the things we need to do. So that's what I'll ask.
And I have one more comment or question. Are we still broadcasting on Spectrum? 463 or 493 or 1983?
I believe that there's working out the broadcast with Spectrum, but right now they're live streaming. So I don't believe it's going out on Spectrum.
Okay, thank you.
Give me an update on that.
Yes, thank you.
So, the last message I got from Spectrum is 2 months delay. So 2 months as of last week that they've delayed it. They still have some programming to do on their side, and then they have to come out and physically install the equipment. So,
Oh, is it because of our move?
yeah. So we're waiting for Spectrum.
Okay, thank you. Because a
You're
couple of residents asked me about that, and I didn't have the.
Is that it? Is that everybody? All right, see you tomorrow night, 6 o'clock.